All right. Oh shit! I forgot to tweet. I got to click the tweet button. God damn it! I got to tweet this. All right. Uh, 86. I couldn't pronounce your name there for a second. I was about to say Nick. I was like, "How you doing? How you doing, Nick?" I was like, I got like two names. Oh, I realized how that sounded wrong. No, no, that's what I meant. There's a guy called Nick, and okay, yeah. No, I'm just gonna stop talking. God damn, that's not a great time. That's a really bad way to start your stream there. All right, all right, all right, all right. And Ukraine. Just give me 1 second here, guys. Gonna go on to the YouTube platform here, copy paste the link so you can go directly from the Twitter to this amazing stream that we're doing right now. Just an overall amazing stream. Gonna be amazing. It's just gonna be amazing. I don't know. It's probably not gonna be. There you go. Now we got it. And post and mic good. Mic good. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Should be able to hear me now. We are good. And pinned profile. Pin profile. Yeah. Okay. We should be pin that to the profile now, so that should be good. Got the right hashtags going. Just gonna check one last thing here. It's good. All right. Let's get going. All right. I realize you're probably here to listen to me talk about what this title is about, and I will. There's been a recent escalation from North Korea, not militarily, at least not yet, but what the words, you have to think about what happened last time. You know, Russia, when they attacked Ukraine, they kept repeating to themselves that they weren't going to attack Ukraine unless Ukraine attacked them or provoked an attack. What did Putin then do? He annexed, or he incorporated these two regions right here into the Russian Federation, therefore being their homeland. And then when Ukraine attacked, or at least tried to defend it, then they allegedly, they called for help from Russian Federation, and they said, "Come help us." That's sort of the legal standings that these leaders try and make up. It's all bullshit, but it's not only is it so they can justify it to their people, who doesn't know any better. Usually these authoritarian people, usually this only works for authoritarian countries. Otherwise, it wouldn't work. I mean, if you did this in Denmark, everybody would know you're bullshitting, because Danish people and most of European countries, Americas, stuff like that, they're very educated upon what's really happening. Well, most care about it, most watch it, and that's what happens there. But in North Korea, where you're completely cut off from any sort of talk from anything, any media, anything, when we hear that North Korean leader continues to repeat to himself, "We're going to attack South Korea if South Korea provokes us, if they try to attack us." That's the issue here. North Korea continues to say this. Here's one of his tweets here, and we actually got a whole article to go through to read you through what he's been saying for the last few days here. But we got the first thing he said earlier here today. Pyongyang, this is directly from Kim Il-jung, Pyongyang would occupy South Korea if deemed necessary, according to him. The decision to take control of the territory of South Korea will be made in case of an emergency. Now, not only does he deem what necessity that is, he has recently, by the way, also another thing to point out here, North Korea has recently turned down all trade between the two countries. Believe it or not, there is trade between the two countries. And yeah, there is some trade. It's not a lot, but there is some. North Korea is very heavily sanctioned, but they do trade some things. They do have some production. There's been like an 8.2 billion something. I think there's quite a lot. And they've recently put that down to about 0.2%. Usually it was like 20% of the North Korean GDP was between trade between South Korea and North Korea. Now it's gone down to about 0.2, which, because he's trying to make his country able to survive in a time of war. And this is not just me going off here. We're talking about really educated people talking about this. We're also talking about defense officials. We're talking about U.S. officials saying this. Yesterday we had a tweet from a U.S. defense official actually saying, several U.S. officials actually saying that there could be an attack from North Korea within months. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that there's an attack coming, but it certainly seems likely that there's something brewing, because he continues to do these things. He continues to, yesterday, for example, as well, or I think it was the day before that, North Korea made it legal for them to invade South Korea, which is one of those funny things that these dictators do. They have to convince their people if this was legal, even though they don't really have to, but they do it anyways to have this sort of moral standing, and they can justify it and blah, 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 So yeah, but here you have it. North Korea votes to put an end to South Korea if force used. If force used, like if South Korea were to use force on North Korea. So here you have it. This is the tweet here, and this is from Inside a Paper. Just want to point these guys are on Twitter as well. You can go find them. They make really great articles. Go read about those guys. So I don't get copyrighted or anything. Inside a Paper, Twitter as well, same name. The North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has vowed Pyongyang would not hesitate to put an end to South Korea if attacked. Now that's interesting right there, right? If attacked. South Korea has made it explicitly clear that they are not planning on attacking. So what did Russia do? What does these authoritarian people do? What did Germany do before they invaded in World War II? They put up false flag attacks. They actually put their own soldiers in Polish guard outfits and lied, and they said that the Polish guards had attacked Germans, even though, but it was a justification to go to war, and that's what it was. So here you have it again. These people, and then Russia did the same thing. You remember the time when they planted attacks inside of their own territory, if they planning an attack in Ukraine that made it look like a Ukraine attack their so-called, I'm doing like quotation signs right now, sovereign territory. So this is what the authoritarian people do. They lie to tell you, they have attacked us, and they gobble this up. Because a lot of people on Twitter or social media in general, they don't really follow along. They don't even know a lot about this. And they just hear about the factor that North Korea's been attacked, and they assume, that. But most people are on the same page when it comes to North Korea. Most of everyone is on the same page when it comes to who's the aggressor here. We all know that North Korea is the aggressor, and how they treat their people is obviously very terrible. And but yeah, the deemness of who tells you, oh, we've just been attacked, is up to this guy. Either they will do some kind of false flag attack where they attack themselves and lie about it being South Korea, or they try to provoke South Korea to do a test because recently North Korea has been firing shells from their border over towards islands in the South Korean side where they've landed in the water. They've actually shelled the island before. David, welcome in. So if you missed a bit of what I'm talking about here, you might want to restart the stream with just 9 minutes back here, and you restart it and listen to it, what I was talking about here. But yeah, this is all developing very quickly here. But the factor is, guys, this guy decides what an attack is. What he hopes to do is fire shells towards South Korea, saying it was an exercise, or it was a deemed necessary, or something like that, lying about it. And then South Korea responds by doing the same thing. He will then use that as a justification, because when they attack, it's their fault, and they didn't do it. They will lie, and we didn't attack. They won't tell their people that we attacked. But when South Korea attacks, and even if it lands in the water, North Korea could very likely use that as a means of telling everybody, oh well, we got attacked. This guy right here decides whether or not this becomes a reality. That's what I want to point out here right now. We're talking about one man. Okay, one man decides the fate of pretty much the whole entire world. When we talk about like chain reactions, small warfare theories. One war starts another. Basically, the Middle East is basically a small arms theory. One armed war starts another because it's provocated by other who wants, and China, obviously, if South Korea goes to war against North Korea, well, then South Korea has to be backed by not only Japan. What was it, Japan? No, I think Japan has a. Do they actually? I don't think they have. Well, they might have some kind of security or details, but they might not completely have it yet. But I think they're getting pretty good friends lately. But Australia is one, I think, but definitely the United States. So, yeah, and China, of course, having the opportunity to invade Taiwan wouldn't come very often. It would only really come in terms of times when they had the means and the United States was distracted enough. You have to think to yourself, North Korea right now is looking at the situation of the United States and saying to himself, well, what is Joe Biden doing right now? What is USA doing right now? They're at war. I mean, they're in the Middle East. They're in a very hot pocket Middle East that could blow off any second. It's pretty much already blown off. There's multiple strikes today. And just today as well, we actually had a confirmation, and I'll read this. This is actually part of this, that the Islamic resistance in Iraq has actually announced that it will be assuming escalations its campaigns against the U.S. and coalition military forces in Syria and Iraq following the retaliation at airstrikes last Friday by the U.S. Air Force and drone strikes on Wednesday in Iraqi capital of Baghdad. I think that's how you say it, which resulted in the death of Abdul Bakir al-Said and Akan al-Aliyev. I don't know if that's how you say it. Both high-ranking field commanders in the Iranian-backed militia group Kayyitab Hezbollah, which is what's happening here. So you have to think to yourself, this guy's looking at the wall right now, realizing the United States is down on power. It is divided. It is at war in the Middle East. It is having a tough time deciding between each other. It can't agree on the most basic things. It has to supply Ukraine. There is no better time for North Korea to do this than now. There will not be a better time, because if they wait too long, well, then they're not going to be able to have enough time. And this is, I mean, I realize what I'm saying here could be blown out as warmongering or fear adjusting, but you have to put yourself into the logical standing of what's happening here. This is what's going on, natural disasters in the United States. I mean, we had talk a lot about that lately. The United States are not very happy about their government. He realizes Joe Biden is, sorry to say, not a strong leader, and he doesn't have a lot of voters lately, and he's realizing that right now we're looking at a very strong point. If he has a time to invade South Korea, you have to think to yourself, when would be the perfect time to do it? It'd be now. Okay? So this is all boiling up together. You all have to look at it and think to yourself, well, what's happening? What is happening? And North Korea, South Korea, I mean, they realize this. And North Korea, Kim Jong-un, he's not dumb. He studied in Switzerland. He actually did. He's not a dumb individual. I mean, he's obviously very cunning. And he obviously realizes this could be his chance to reunify. South Korea is a strong military in its own right, but it also has to think about, don't count Joe out just yet. Well, no. Listen, hey, we're not gonna sit here and say that the United States are not gonna be, helping out in the war in South Korea. But I am just saying, the amount of equipment and the amount of help could be considerably less. But I'm not gonna sit here and say that Joe Biden wouldn't help. I'm just saying that. Not his particular leadership skills, but I'm saying that his position in the government is very weakened because a lot of people don't have support of him anymore. That's what I'm trying to say here, but you get it. But yeah, so he will decide whether or not this is a war scenario. He decides, Kim Jong decides when, where, or how or what is an attack on their sovereign territory. So yeah, reading on from this here, state media said Friday as relations between neighbors hits new lows. The nuclear armed North this year declared South Korea its principal enemy. That's another thing. Closed agency dedicated to reunification and outreach and threatened war over even 0.001 millimeters of territorial infringement. So that's also another thing there. South Korea has made it explicitly clear multiple times that they do not intend to attack. They do not intend to infringe on North Korean soil. They do not intend to do anything unless North Korea does something first. So, when is he hoping for this to happen? Because it obviously won't. What he thinks, or what he's going to try to probably procure, is some kind of false scenario, is what I'm thinking of. I can't tell you because I don't know, but you have to put yourself in the minds of these people. Look at what other dictators have done. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to do it, that there's going to be a war, because I don't know, but I'm looking at the factors and I'm telling you, you have to put yourself in the perspective of this guy. Right now, it is possibly the best time, and also not only just the best time, but it's possibly also the only time. Yeah. His agreements with Russia has gone through the roof, and he's now good friends with Russia, and they can supply him with what they need and what he needs. And you would think he'd maybe wait a few years and to try and build up his army and to try and have Russia help build him up an army. But if he waits too long, it might infringe upon it. But I mean, he could wait. It could be wrong that he's going to attack in a month. I couldn't tell you. It could be that we're looking at, but the amount of time he can maintain having this sort of relationship with South Korea, because you have to think about just how much he's lowered the amount of export between the two countries. He's also lowered, he's increased the trade with Russia. So he's replaced South Korea, which also means he can actually go to war with South Korea without actually having, so whatever he's planning on doing, it's certainly something that could be very significant. But here you have his quote here. If the enemy dare to use force against our country, we will make a blunt decision that will change history and not hesitate to mobilize all the superpowers to put an end to them. So, all the superpowers, yeah. All his superpowers. Kim said, according to Pyongyang official Korean Central News Agency. Peace is not something to beg for or exchange through negotiations, he added. No, he doesn't want He doesn't want negotiations. No, of course he doesn't. Kim made the comments during a defense ministry event making the anniversary of founding the country's military. KCNA said. This statement echoed earlier remarks in which Kim said the military should annihilate the enemy if provoked, referring to South Korea and its allies, the United States, media reported last month. He's pretty much getting ready for some kind of escalation here. I mean, I can't continue to say that he's not, but he certainly seems to be getting ready for some kind of assault or something like that. So yeah. So. What was it? He stated an image released by KCNA on Friday showed Kim holding his hands with young daughter UA, who some analysts say is being groomed as the next leader of isolated country. If there's going to be a country. I mean, Jesus Christ, right? The images also showed the pair. Richie, welcome in. You might want to go a bit back in the stream, Richie. I've talked about a lot of stuff here. If you don't, it's fine. You can also watch it later. But yeah. I'm just talking about North Korea right now. The images also showed the pair receiving enthusiastic cheers from uniformed military soldiers, as well as posing for photographs with army commanders. You're alive, Johnny. You keep saying that, Johnny. Do you have near-death experience every time? Images released by KNC Friday show, blah, 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 blah. The images also showed the pair receiving enthusiastic cheers from uniformed military soldiers, as well as posing for photographs with army commanders. Kim said Pyongyang's recent decision to define Seoul as its principal enemy was a righteous measure. The decision of defying South Korea puppets as number one hostility nation and unhinging enemy, and to occupy and put down their territory in the event of contingencies for the sake of our country's internal security, he said, according to KNCA. South Korea President Yoon Suk Yeol, I think that's how you say it, said last week that the irrational North Korean government was likely to carry out multiple provocations, including cyber attacks and drone intrusions ahead of South April elections. Very nice, yeah. Very true, very true. In January, Seoul's defense minister said North Korea would face the end of its regime if it ever waged a war. And that's true. I mean, I listen here saying to you guys, who has the better power, who has the better technology, who has the better capabilities. It 100% is going to be Seoul. I mean, South Korea is 100% the better. Sorry, 100% the better version. So yeah. But yeah, North Korea rubber stamp parliament voted Wednesday to abolish laws on economic cooperation with South Korea. That's what I was talking about earlier. Kim has also ramped up weapons testing, including this year's launch of flurry of cruise missiles, which analysts said that North Korea could be supplying to Russia for use in Ukraine. So we are looking at an escalation in possible months or years. I'm still waiting on saying that it could be years before North Korea decides. I mean, Kim Jong-un is a young man. He wants to get his daughter ready. That could be something. So whatever it is, it certainly seems so. But also to think that he'd wait years also would give South Korea a very long time to get ready. So whatever he's going to plan to do, it's certainly something. He is planning on doing drone intrusions or something like that. At least South Korea said he could be planning on doing some kind of provocation that could. What he's looking for is I'll catch up soon. Got you in 2 speeds. All right, fair enough. So what he's planning on doing is 100%. The start of something, but he certainly could be looking into to trying to do something. We will continue to, of course, keep you updated on that one. Oh, we got a Nortk Grumman E2 Hawkeye. That's an interesting plane to have up. We got some E6 action off the what's that? The West Coast? No, East Coast? No, yeah, East. Can't remember. I'm not good with the fucking compass. We don't got a compass in this one, do we? No, don't. God damn it. I don't remember right that one. So the Pacific Coast is the East Coast, right? And that's the West Coast. Am I right on that? No. Is that the East and South? The South? West Coast? No, it can't be the West Coast. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm very dumb. Yes. What was you looking at right there? Chinhook. What's that one? Boeing 767. A lot of stuff here. Some E6 actions. Not too much. Not too much interesting stuff there. Anyways, moving on. I read something about it will continue to be attacks in the Middle East, of course. Moving on to some Middle Eastern news here. Some interesting developments has happened, definitely. There will be continuous attacks by of course, Islamic Resistance, as I mentioned earlier here. The Islamic Resistance has vowed to escalate their attacks. So that will continue. That was the official document here with blah, blah, blah. And that was the one they put out. But I'm not going to read that now. I retweeted it. You can go find it yourself there. But the Egyptian army has reportedly deployed several elements of the 4th Armored Division of the 3rd Field Army, consisting of upwards of 40 MA-A1 Abrams and M60 A3 pattern main battle tank, as well as the YPR 765 infantry fighting vehicles, recently towards the border. Oh shit. Between Egypt and Gaza Strip, this deployment is likely to provide extra border security for eventual Israeli ground operations into southern Gaza Strip and the city of Rafah, which could cause a surge in Palestinian refugees towards Egypt. Here you have some pictures of it. I'm not aware if this is the direct pictures of just now. There could have been some older ones, but probably is from now. but it certainly recognizes what this is, what they're doing. Now, what's interesting about this is that what are they planning on doing? Firing a tank against refugees? I mean, some people say, oh, the EU not accepting refugees. How dare they? And then Egypt goes with their fucking with a M1 battle tank to try and stop refugees from coming through the border. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's kind of like a double standard when the Middle East tells the EU that they should accept the refugees, but when refugees comes into any Middle Eastern country, they drive a tank up to the fucking battle. I mean, I know the EU is not perfect, but at least we don't drive tanks up towards refugees and point a tank at them. Well, I mean, at least not in mainland Europe. Some areas they've done that before. I think it was Serbia. No, we're not going to talk about that. Kosovo and Turkey, or not Turkey, so Serbia. Yeah, you get it. The EU and NATO news here. Danish Defense Ministry, Poulsen, which is actually used to be my last name, but I changed it, but it's pretty cool. Actually, this is exactly how you spell my last name, or was how you spell my last name. Some people, actually, no, this is not exactly. To me, if you spell it, it was like this. It was like with a V. Some people, they got confused because we said this, others said this, which is like, what, it doesn't matter. But the Danish Defense Ministry warns that Russia could potentially attack NATO within 3 to 5 years, citing accelerated Russian rearmament as a case of genuine concern. So, one thing I point out there is that people continue to say that we are going to be at war in 3 to 5 years. So, I'm studying right now, and I've recently thought about just stopping and just living the best I can live for the next 3 to 5 years if we're going to be in war anyways. I've thought about it. I'm not going to do it, but I've thought about just quitting, catching up all the money I got, and just fucking living the best life ever until a war breaks out and then get conscripted and fucking die. Oh, no, don't worry. Don't worry, I don't think this is that serious, and certainly I don't see that happening. I think it's probably Russian propaganda playing into Western hands. I can't tell you if this is going to happen or not. I can't seriously think to myself that this is very likely, but of course, I've said it before, Russia is not to be underestimated. I mean, they do have a lot of weapons capabilities, and they can produce a lot. They simply have more. I've even gone into details about this before. So I'm not going to sit here and say that they don't. They have mass amount of resources. The quality of the resources is the other problem. I mean, the quality of the resources is what Russia obviously has massive problems with. So, yes, they have a lot. I'm not going to take that away from them. They have a lot. They have big capabilities of production. But they don't have the necessary capability to build tanks or equipment likely to be able to catch up with NATO equipment. However, they do still have the number advantage, not in manpower, even though, manpower, we still have the numbers in manpower, and in terms of production power, we have the numbers in production power. So it's not really that I see Russia as a massive sort of threat, but I do see them as a relative threat. But it can be scary, guys, and I get that. But you gotta listen. You gotta listen to your 40s. You gotta listen to the people who know about what they're talking about. I might not know exactly what I'm talking about, but I've been at this for quite a bit now. But I definitely recommend you to go read about this, understand it. Understand what's going on, understand Russia, understand all these things, and so you're ready. And I also say this to a lot of people: don't be afraid or panic. Be ready 100%. And I'm talking about the idea of prepping. This is not me going out on a limb saying, oh, you have to prep. I'm a redneck from America, you have to prep. No. This is legitimate. What I'm trying to say here, guys, you have to prep a bit. The reason why I'm saying that is because NATO came out with statements saying that you have to actually have water up to, I think it was 72 hours, which is about 3 days, food of that caliber as well. So you have to be ready for it. Those services are not likely to be able to be provided before a good 3 days or maybe even a week, depending on how fast they're able to procure enough water and food. The problem, of course, again, is that NATO has rejected any idea, not NATO directly, but NATO countries and EU countries rejected any idea of idea that there could ever be a war again. So they continue to tell themselves that they don't need to prepare, which is stupid, but that's what we're looking at. But now we are realizing it, and 3 to 5 years is a lot. It's very likely we'll be able to catch up and be able to produce enough, probably, to be able to pull them back, but we'll have to take a look at that in that time, right? Freddie, welcome in. It's a crazy thing. I'll be in the 20s, yeah. But certainly keep having a look at it, and don't be afraid. Be ready. Is what I continue to say. So good time there. It's also likely that North Korea would match their time of when they would do it, when Russia did it. But yeah, whatever time or whatever time frame we're looking at the next few years of being a very uncertain time in who does what, So yeah. The Chamber of Deputies of the Italian Parliament finally approved the government's decision to provide military aid. Italy has finally approved its military and defense contractors and people like that to be able to provide Ukraine with the necessary equipment, as well as if it had continuously said it probably wouldn't, but now it has redone its procurements and put forward a new leg, much like the United States, who has finally come out with a statement saying today the U.S. will approve funding for Ukraine. Congress Mike Turner in Kyiv. So the U.S. will, and this is directly from Mike Turner, who's the House of Representatives, the Speaker of the House, right? That's how you say it, yeah. Who said now that yes, the United States will approve funding for Ukraine to be able to fight on. So that's some good news, I say. 2 good news. Other news include that Polish Minister of Agriculture, I can't pronounce that, Sergei or something like that, met with farmers and called for unblocking the border with Ukraine as soon as possible. It's reported by the press services of a Polish agency. We will monitor the arrival of products from Ukraine. However, let's remember the trade, including Ukraine, is bilateral, the minister emphasizes. And he's got a picture of it here as well, standing there talking to the guys, protest. Got there. He was in a pressure situation. These are all farmers looking right at him and saying, "Hey," it's got to be a stressful situation for any politician having a bunch of farmers looking down at your ass saying, "You better do better, motherfucker." Okay, moving on from that, we have some United States news here. Some interesting events has happened throughout the last few hours here. Magnitude earthquakes in Los Angeles has hit 5.5 and 5.6. I think that was only some of them. There has been some events here transpiring in America lately, and not only in America but also in Los Angeles here lately. There's been some very interesting events there, but there certainly has now been a mass earthquake. Well, it's quite big. This prepper companies are selling their solar power generator. What? Well, yeah. I mean, solar panels are definitely reliable. I mean, they don't run off electricity; they run off the sun's power. I mean, they don't have to have external power to be able to run. But for them to be able to procure energy, I'm not sure if they would be affected by an EMP. I'm not sure. But yeah, I know. I do think, if I'm being honest with you, solar panels could be a reliable source power in the future or forever, pretty much. Especially windmills, for example, and stuff like that. It doesn't necessarily fry everything, but it could necessarily be that it could fry the components to be able to do it, You have built an EMP cage for them? Oh, you have to build an EMP cage? No, I've never heard about that. Is that like just a big lead box? Like just a lot of lead? We have considered that. Is it Doug? uh, inventors would fry. Yeah, inverters. Oh, not inventors. Inverse. Yeah. I mean that's true, David. I mean, yeah. I listen. I'm not a big understander of this whole prepper thing. I'm not a prepper. I'm not a big understanding of it. Construct free new bases to to source our Russian defense plan. Turkey wants 700,000 troops to Western Front 2026. Well, yeah. I mean, listen. You know, I can't tell you if all this is gonna escalate when or I can't listen. What I can't tell you when this is gonna escalate. All I can tell you is that it's gonna. Okay. If no matter how much aid you put into Ukraine, you cannot take out what Russia is building right now. Not only because we've been too weak to realize it, to realize who Putin was, but you also have to put in perspective now that they're building and using everything in their resources to build pure fucking military equipment. So that means the whole of Russia, every single part of its industry, malls, big buildings, schools are being turned into arms factories. That's quite the impressive sight there, but it also means that Putin certainly has been underestimated from many points of view. I mean, I'm not a Putin supporter here, guys, but you also, I mean, you know that, but you also have to think about yourself that, to yourself, that Putin is not a dumb man. He's a son of a bitch, but he's not a dumb man. He's a manipulative. He knows when he's charming. He can be very manipulative. Look at the interview Tucker Carlson did with Putin. Everybody was saying, "Oh, it's so nice to hear his side of the story," you know, and oh, he seems so charming. Yes, that's because he's a very manipulative kind of guy. You can't trust anything that comes out of his mouth, but he tells you things that actually I can see that he is very manipulative. That he has Trump under a fucking spell. People don't realize that, but Trump is under Putin's spell. Trump loves Putin because he's under Putin's spell. You know, so yeah, but it's what it is. You know, he's a master manipulator, such as Kim Jong Un is a master manipulator. These guys are master manipulators. It's the only way they stay in power. You know, they manipulate their way through not only money but also the ideas of people thinking, oh well, they don't have to rise up because this guy knows what he's doing. So yeah, it's interesting. It really is. Madagascar passes bill to castrate child rapists. A bill has been passed in Madagascar to castrate child rapists. I just wanted to come out and say I'm in agreement of that bill. I think if therapy doesn't work, these people continue to get worse. Castration could be a very viable option that isn't inhumane. It's not. I don't think it's inhumane. I think that if the therapy, which costs the society millions of dollars, doesn't work, there's another option. Cut it off. You know? Give it away. Because if he doesn't have anything, it's not going to be able to do much. The urge goes away. That's scientifically proven. That's the start was like a Mount Pick 2 story. The start of the stream. Like the start of the stream or the start of some. Well, what start, Freddy? I only know high school world history. Its version was lies. Oh, his version was lies. Right? Yeah. Right. No, we all. I mean, much of what he says is lies. Much of it. Uh, and people keep saying that, oh yeah, the Russians and the Ukrainians are completely the same. They inherit the same from the same area. Most of Russia has Mongolian ascent, and actually, most of what Russia became was a direct transcent from Mongolian authoritarian rule. That's how they became such big. That's how they became who they were. A Mongolian descendants. They are. Many of them are. But yeah. So moving on from the castration there, we have some Ukrainian and Russian news here. We have some quick rundown here from Flash News on Twitter. Go check them out. Good guys. But here you have it. More than 1 million doses of diphtheria or something like that and tetanus vaccine. I can't read that. I think it's something like that. Were delivered to Ukraine for routine vaccinations in 2024, Minister of Health of Ukraine. SpaceX Crew Dragon spacecraft with 4 other members on board returned to Earth from the ISS and landed in the Atlantic Ocean. Clashes broke out in India after the demolition of a Moscow. At least 4 people died and 150 were injured, BBC News. So apparently, and also there was a terrorist attack in India, by the way. I think it was, I don't know what exactly will blow up, but there was a video out there or something that blew up. There was a terrorist attack took place there, but we don't know exactly. I mean, you know, something like that. Sorry about that. Oh my god. In Pakistan, 51 acts of terrorism were committed during the parliamentary election. As a result, 12 people died, another 39 people were injured. So in Pakistan, 51 acts of terrorism were committed during the parliamentary elections. As a result, 12 people died, another 39 people were injured. Just terrorism all over, because they can't keep stewing. They just gotta terrorize. That's their whole thing. Moving on from that, Norway plans to deliver additional NASAM air defense systems to Ukraine. Norway announced on February the 9th that it had asked the parliamentary to deliver an additional 10 NASAM air defense systems and 4 control centers to Ukraine. 10 NASAM air defense systems is going to go a long way to protect the skies of Ukraine, so think about that. The myth of North Korea is interesting. No, the North Korean narrative? Oh, yeah. No, but yeah, I will tell you that. I mean, North Korea is an interesting, very interesting country, mostly because of its very authoritarian rule. I mean, we don't know exactly why it became like that. It has a communistic sense. Obviously, it has, it obviously because there was communist rulers. That's it. You know. Ecuador intends to provide old Russian military equipment to the United States for subsequent transfer for Ukraine. This includes many helicopters, MLRS, and air defense systems manufactured in the 1990s. In return, Ecuador plans to receive modern weapons with a worth of $200 million from the United States, which is pretty good deal, actually. And Ecuador, of course, realized this and said, you know what? We're getting modern equipment worth $200 million, and all we got to do is give you guys some of our old stuff. You know what? I'll take that deal. That sounds like a good deal. You know, I've been thinking about this for a little bit, but you know what, guys? We're going to take it. Really? Yeah. Why? It's a fucking great deal. I don't realize why they haven't done it before. A lot of South American countries don't seem to realize that if they give away their old military stuff, the United States will replace their old military stuff with new stuff. They've said that, so why not just do it? I mean, I'm just saying, like, yeah. But yeah, Ecuador certainly seems to be on the right path of righteousness. Finland approved its 22nd defense package to Ukraine with around 190 million euros or $205 million, the Finnish Defense Ministry announced on February the 9th. Zelensky, I talked about this yesterday as well, but we're going to talk about this now here as well. Zelensky announced new chief of general staff. Ukrainian Parliament Vladimir Zelensky has named Major General Anatoly Barshervi or something like that as a new chief of general staff for Ukrainian armed forces. Zelensky announced during his evening address on February the 9th. But there also was a shift. I think it was the defense minister who has also been replaced. I can't remember exactly who it was, but he has also Zelensky or something like that. He's been replaced. There's a lot of people being replaced. This comes as Ukraine did say this. They said it. They said that they were going to start replacing. Zelensky said he was going to start replacing a lot of the internal members of Ukraine, and they've done it. They're doing it. So yeah. Several dozen people gathered at the Independence Square chanting Zelensky out and bring back Valery Zelensky. Ukrainian media says protesters are playing along with Russian propaganda. So, yeah. But there were Ukrainian protesters, or they call themselves Ukrainian. You know, these people, they certainly call themselves Ukrainian. Can I confirm that they're Ukrainian? Can I confirm that guy's Ukrainian? Or is that a woman? It looks like a man. Can I confirm he's Ukrainian? Don't know. Many of them are. Many of them very much like Zelensky. And I won't differentiate here, guys. The guy, the Valery, the former general staff, or the chief general staff, or not, no, he was the defense minister. He did great. He defended Ukraine. A lot of people like him. A lot of people thought he was the defender of Ukraine. He defended Ukraine very greatly. People don't realize why he had to get out. Now they're chanting Zelensky out. But can I confirm that whoever that is Russian or Ukrainian? Don't know. He certainly seems to be the only guy who's throwing his arm up in the fucking sky. And you know, I like how they said, oh, the crowd was chanting out with Zelensky in with Valery. No, one guy. No, two people were shouting it. Like, it was two people, not everyone. Nobody else was saying shit. Like, these two guys, are they Russian? I can't tell you if they are, but it certainly seems like it. I mean, you can't tell me that the whole crowd were saying it. The whole crowd wasn't saying it. It was two guys and one guy with a very big arm just going, yeah, that's shit. Oh, it's not it. You know, so can't tell you if the whole crowd thought the same thing, but all right. No, but they are not too happy about it. In other news that's actually great for me, great to hear, UK intelligence anticipate more accidents at Russian plants. Russia is falling apart? No. Yes. Actually, before we show you this, I've got some videos here to show you. Moscow is on fire. It's been on fire since yesterday. And here you have it. This is actually videos coming out here. That whole roof, and yesterday as well, a pipeline blew up. But that whole roof there is just on fire. They're saying it might be gas leaks or some kind of problems in the gas systems. It could be sabotage, or it could be simple lack of maintenance. But yeah, some people are saying it could be lack of maintenance. Some people are saying sabotage. But I say hallelujah. Parada, Ukrainska Parada is also some people on Twitter. You want to go check those guys out. They do great articles as well. Insider paper and Ukrainska Parada pretty much provides you what you need to know. This one's pretty long. We'll go through it. So the source, the UK intelligence reviewed the data 9th February on Twitter as reported by European Pravda. The UK Minister of Defense noted that the stricter production requirements due to political pressure from Kremlin to increase defense production to meet the demands of the war in Ukraine are likely to lead to more industrial accidents in Russia in the near future. Because they don't have the proper people for it. I mean, they keep using people that don't know what the fuck they're doing. That seems to be what Russia is doing, Analysts have pointed to the recent reports of explosions at a military plant near Shvinsk, something like that, maybe, in central Russia, which is used to produce a range of ballistic missiles. Yeah, that was also a good one there. including the Iskander, which can be nuclear. Just want to point that out. The Iskander system is actually a nuclear-capable missile. We're not very sure that there were any nuclear components there, but they were building rocket components that had nuclear components or nuclear capabilities and stuff like that, which has been frequently deployed against Ukraine. Initially, reports suggested the explosions were due to worker error, although later the Russian state task news agency reported that due to a planned test of rocket engines, the review stated. So there was a planned test of rocket engines that failed massively. Yeah, it's unlikely the UK intelligence stressed that Ukraine drones were involved in the incidents, given the distance of 1,200 kilometers from Ukrainian territory. Moreover, the UK Minister of Defense added that there has been no reports of similar attacks in the area. Analysts say that there's a real possibility that the explosions at the Evyensk plant occurred due to neglect handling a storage of flammable combustibles and explosive materials. This is the fifth unexplained military industrial factory explosions in the 4 month. The previous explosions include the Kamysky chemical plant, the Rostov on 15 January 2024, the Chelyabinsk tank factory on November 26, 2003, gunpowder ammunition factory in Kotovsk on the November 10th, 2023, the Solomansk on 31st October 2023, the UK Minister of Defense added. On the 7th of February, an intense explosive reportedly occurred in the Udmurt Republic in Russia at a plant that produced ballistic missiles and nuclear weapon components. That's what I put right there. On 8th February, the UK Minister of Defense reported that the Adviki were still the core focus of Russian operations in Ukraine, and the Russian army will continue the defense in the area in the coming weeks. A previous UK Defense Intelligence Review on the 7th of February noted that the Russian regime believes it has managed to eliminate any potential threat from Wagner private military company. Yeah, there you go. Apparently, Russia believes that it's actually over, that the Wagner military threat is over. Why? I'll tell you why, because they're all fucking dead. They're all fucking gone, man. I mean, there might be a few of them, but they're pretty much dead. I don't have the numbers to go against Russia anymore. You know, they have no numbers to go against Russia anymore. Unusual broadcast from voice of DBRK can heard via SDR radio. I don't have an SDR radio. So I can't listen to that, guys. I don't have SDR radio. And I don't really buy into all that. This is radio transmissions. I mean, it could be anybody. I had a guy come in here once, tried to convince me that he knew exactly what the voices on the radio meant, because he was the assistant driver of the commander of the gunner or something like that. It was like, he said to me, "Oh yeah, I was in the military. I was the assistant driver of the commander in gunner." What? Assistant driver? What do? Assist the driver? Like, you tell him where to go, or is that like, I know where to go. I'll tell you where to go, guys. Come on. I'm the assistant driver. I do nothing. I mean, I don't know if that's a real one, but it could be. I mean, I know that's cute and all. You know, some people say, you know, that bear, that's the bear's reaction. Look at that. That's the bear's reaction to lightning. Oh my god, I can't believe it. Holy fucking shit. I'm fucking glad I don't have bears in my fucking country, because when I'm looking at that motherfucker, I'm not gonna get an inch near that. Holy fucking shit. That motherfucker looks scary. Look at that guy. I like how he's scared of look at like this guy. He's scared of lightning though. Holy shit, these guys are fucking scary as shit. These guys are so fucking scary. Oh my god, those bears are fucking. I mean, they're afraid of the lightning because they don't understand it. They're like, holy shit. A large 3.6 earthquake strike just miles off the coast of Big Island, Hawaii. Just moments ago, a large magnitude 6.3 earthquake struck just miles off the coast of the Big Island, Hawaii. The epicenter was just southeast of the Nile, maybe. Officials say residents should prepare for potential aftershocks as moderate shaking has been reported on the island. There's no tsunami threat to the Hawaii following the 6.3 magnitude earthquake. That's good. So no tsunami. I'm not aware if that. I think it was in the ocean. Probably not too much damage on the coastland. But yeah. In the third incidents within the last 4 days, four Russian military aircraft flight consisting of the Tu-95 long-range strategic bombers and fighter escorts were detected and tracked by NORAD within the Alaskan Air Defense Indication Zone, with them remaining in the international airspace and eventually turning back towards Russia. This is so typical Russia. I mean, people act like this is something new or we have to worry about this. They've been doing this since fucking they've been doing that since the 1960s or even before that. So, no, I wouldn't worry about that. Just be honest with you. I would not worry about that one. Let us see if there is any other interesting on that one. I have to watch. Let's go watch Sun's gear. Here you go, guys. We got a 6-minute and 29 seconds Zelensky video here today. A long one, but he explains everything that goes on in Ukraine. It's a pretty good one, so have fun in watching that. I can rest my voice for a minute.
Бажаю здоров'я, шановні українці, українки. Головне за цей день. Сьогодні відзначив державними нагородами та, зокрема, хрестами бойових заслуг та орденами «Золота зірка» наших воїнів, солдатів, сержантів, офіцерів та генералів, героїв цієї війни, тих, хто вже зараз в історії нашої держави. Серед них підполковник Збройних сил України В'ячеслав Агеєв. Саме його підрозділ в травні 23-го року вперше знищив російську балістичну ціль, ракету, якою в Москві завжди хвалилися. Ніби ніхто не зможе її збити. Українці змогли. Званням Героя України відзначив генерала Валерія Залужного та генерал-лейтенанта Кирила Буданова. Вдячний кожному. І загалом від початку повномасштабної війни вже більше 70 тисяч воїнів з різних елементів Сил оборони та безпеки України відзначені державними нагородами. Це хоробрість, яка дає силу Україні. Сьогодні проводив наради із командуванням наших Сил оборони і безпеки України та міністром оборони Рустемом Умєровим. За результатами нарад, перше, провів заміну керівника Генерального штабу Збройних сил України. Я дякую генерал-лейтенанту Сергію Шапталі за службу протягом цих 2 років війни. Новим начальником Генштабу за пропозицією головкома Олександра Сирського призначив генерал-майора Анатолія Баргилевича. Досвідчена людина розуміє завдання цієї війни та українські цілі. Сьогодні ж головком Сирський визначив кандидатури заступників, і я підпишу відповідні укази. Також визначені заступники начальника Генерального штабу. Всі хлопці бойові, фахові, кожен із чітким знанням фронту та реальних потреб українських воїнів. І дуже важливо, що головком разом з міністром оборони провів розмови із партнерами Німеччина, Франція, Сполучені Штати. Знаю, що все максимально детально, постачання, заповнення дефіцитів, снаряди, зброя. Провів сьогодні нараду з главою уряду Денисом Шмигалем. Під час поїздки в Кропивницький та регіональної наради там я дав завдання прем'єр-міністру оперативно опрацювати наявні в області критичні питання щодо стабільності постачання води, щодо роботи урановидобувних шахт і соціального захисту працівників, також безпекові питання, зокрема можливість обласної та місцевої влади купувати за власні кошти засоби РЕБ, для прикриття інфраструктури. Цілком практичні питання. По кожному є доручення, будемо слідкувати за виконанням. Окрім цього, скоординували з прем'єр-міністром нашу роботу з партнерами щодо конфіскації російських активів. Продовжуємо спілкуватись на усіх рівнях і офіційному, і експертному та громадському, щоб пришвидшити всі необхідні рішення. На кожен прояв російської божевілля і терору, якими б вони не були, найкраща відповідь – це втрати для держави-терориста. Болісні, відчутні їхні втрати. Чим більше буде втрат у винуватця війни, тим ближчим зможемо зробити повернення миру. Справедливого миру та надійної безпеки. Сьогодні ж зустрівся із двопартійною делегацією конгресменів зі Сполучених Штатів на чолі з головою комітету Палати представників з питань розвідки. Поінформував про те, якою є ситуація на полі бою зараз, про критичні загрози і необхідність продовження підтримки нашої оборони. Обговорили передусім 3 питання: необхідність підтримки цього року і нового американського пакету, який зараз все ще на обговоренні, критичне питання. Також ППО, конкретно Петріотів. І третє, ключове питання, підкреслив важливість далекобійності нашої зброї, зокрема атакамсів на 300 кілометрів, щодо яких поки немає, на жаль, рішення. Ми цінуємо американське лідерство і його внесок у захист української незалежності і демократії від перших днів повномасштабної війни. Америка допомогла Україні вистояти у вирішальний момент. І зараз, у цьому році, час війни не став простішим. Виклики надзвичайні. І у Європі все більше лунає голосів щодо того, як у Кремлі готуються розширити агресію. Продовження американської підтримки потрібне. І я дякую усім нашим американським партнерам, які це усвідомлюють. Не можна допускати розповзання війни і російського зла. Путін тверезіє тільки тоді, коли бачить перед собою силу. Сила потрібна. Дякую всім, хто нашу силу збільшує. І ще одне. Сьогодні провів зустріч із членами міжнародної робочої групи щодо екологічних наслідків війни. Це один із пунктів української формули миру. Пункт щодо протидії екоциду. Росія своєю цією війною спричинила катастрофічну екологічну шкоду Україні та нашому Чорноморському регіоні. Це стосується усього від підриву Каховської гідроелектростанції до масштабного забруднення нашої землі мінами. Ми повинні вирішувати вже зараз і цю проблематику разом з усіма у світі, хто готовий допомагати. Жодного аспекту цієї війни не маємо залишити нашим дітям, жодних заморожених чи відкладених проблем. Все треба вирішувати. Я дякую всім, хто має достатню енергію та рішучість саме для того, щоб були рішення. Слава усім, хто б'ється і працює, щоб Україна перемогла. Слава усім, хто допомагає. Слава Україні!
All right, there you go. Thank you, Zelensky. Glory to Ukraine, Slava Ukraina again there. Just a great guy. I've met him before. No, I haven't, but I wish I had. I do. This is the site targeted by Israeli a while ago in Syrian capital. It seems to be a farm really used by Calician figures. Oh my god. Really? Yeah. It's as if. Trying to look for news here. Not really a lot of other news here I can give you. I mean, I've given what I wanted to give out today. In terms of news, of course. There appear to be a lot of erupting volcanoes right now. So there's some kind of tectonic movement right now. Yeah. Some people, of course, say that Russia is rearming itself faster than expected. You have to think to yourself, when you have one arms factory in your country that produces pretty much nothing, when you have a record in your country of having only a few arms production companies, Denmark has pretty much no arms production companies, and you think to yourself, you know what? We have no way of creating military equipment, but we'll be in NATO so we can fight off a war, right? It just doesn't make a lot of sense for NATO to accept Denmark. The only reason why they did was because of our sea axis. Obviously, if Russia wanted to go through here and they went for the strait here, but we have how many ships does Denmark have? We have 7 ships, and they say, oh yeah, but then they can create a naval blockade. We don't even have enough ships to blockade this area here. How? We might have enough ship for it, but we don't have any way of building more ships, and then we have to buy a ship. That'd be very fucking expensive to all of a sudden have to buy a ship instead of producing it ourselves. We can't produce ships. They want us to start producing ships again, but we don't have any infrastructure to produce ships. Neither does many of the European countries right now. Norway has it, Sweden has, and Finland has been preparing, but Denmark apparently thinks to itself, well, no, we don't have to get ready. We're the greatest military power ever. Oh, look at us. We're so professional. Oh, look at us. We have 50,000 soldiers, but that doesn't matter because they're very professional. I tell you right now, you can have a very professional army, and there is nothing, I tell you, nothing wrong with our soldiers, but they don't exactly have the capabilities to fight off an army in a long-term perspective. Long-term perspective, we're looking at a war that's going to last a long time. Denmark doesn't have that capability. We can't last for a long time. We have to, but we want to, but we simply can't. And if that's the reality, then we can't, But yeah. Russia attacked in Kharkiv, caused massive fire, injuring 1. Russian snipers struck a gas station in Kharkiv, creating a large fire that has engulfed 15 residential homes and injured at least 1 person. Kharkiv Mayor Ihor Terkikov announced via telegram over 50 Kharkiv residents, including 2 children, have been evacuated. Well, at least they've been evacuated. That's good news. Happy Chinese New Year. It's the New Year of the Dragon. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, by the way, because apparently, we all know that China is like million of light years. Has a very very different calendar than ours. They're celebrating New Year's now. So, there you have it. A private jet crashed into an interstate of the I-75, busting into flames. Numerous firefighters and other emergency crews are on the scene. A 2004 Challenger 600 jet with the tail number N823KD, operated by the charter company called Hope a Jet. There you go. Crashed on an interstate in I-75 in Naples, Florida. Bursting into flames, it reported that the aircraft was approaching the Naples airport, Florida, when the flight radiator that they had lost both engines. Radioed that they've lost both engines and were unable to make it to the runway. So now they crash into it. Holy shit! That's quite a lot there. No chance of surviving that. May share Camp Valdemar, Latvia.
Yeah, oh yeah, I feel it.
After Hungary lets us in NATO? Well, yeah. Honestly, I'd pull Denmark out of NATO. If it was down to the decision of to be made, I would pull Denmark out of NATO. There isn't a reason for us to be in NATO. I do believe that there is a rule. I do believe that there is a rule that you could give up your own position to and then immediately give it to somebody else or Sweden. Maybe that's the thing you could do. You know, in exchange, Denmark get off its role, which it doesn't really need. I mean, other people say, well, then Russia could have free access when that doesn't really, you know, and then NATO, you know, couldn't reinforce Denmark and chances of them coming to aid Denmark and blah blah blah. But yeah, I get that, and I know people always point out, but the chances of Russia deciding, oh, we're gonna invade Denmark is gonna be not gonna be very high. And in terms of security pledges, obviously, I mean, a lot of people don't feel comfortable with without being in NATO, obviously, but I'm just saying to you right now, I think Denmark would be in a lot better position if it wasn't in NATO because it simply can't afford it. It doesn't have the numbers to it. Scrap the ground force, get rid of the ground force, turn it into an air force and a massive ship force. If Denmark had a larger naval presence and a larger air presence without having a ground force, it doesn't need a ground force. If it can keep off any sort of people trying to get into its nation, of course it can have special forces and SWAT teams to be able to keep off, well, if there was somebody who decided to launch a terrorist attack, but that's something else. But somebody decided to launch an attack by sea, well, realizing that you have a massive naval force would keep them off. You know, you'd be able to afford that. But yeah.
Bro.
This is.
I mean, that's, you know.
It's hot going right by it.
Look at how, like, it
Just saw a big cloud of smoke go up, and this is where it is here. I'm in Naples. Not sure what's going on, but helicopter is landing. There's debris all over the road. This is not good.
get HMS Epsilon if Denmark withdraw from NATO. Well, I'd give any of our fucking ships away to Sweden. No, we're not going to give any ships away to Sweden.
Question 57.
South traffic 3 mile final, Challenger jet.
Jet 823 is with you on a right downwind for a 5 mile final, runway 23.
Jet 823, roger, make the right turn back towards the airport, reach 1 departure ahead, Challenger jet.
Alright, that's the audio there. We're going to listen to it right now. Go to Twitter, you can see all the audio is coming out. You can have that there. Well, maybe. But I tell you, what I'd say is that Denmark should invest in thinking of its future. There's no reason to have a ground force in Denmark because Germany's not going to try and invade us. We're not looking at an invasion from Germany anymore. We're looking at an invasion from these guys, from all the way over here. All these countries right here has to fall and Germany before anybody reaches Denmark, which is very fucking unlikely. All of these countries right here has to fall before anybody could reach Denmark. And if Denmark, instead of having a ground force, spending 50,000, sending like 10,000 people to the front to fight, it could scrap the ground force, have a massive air force, and help out across the whole fucking thing. Have a bigger, better naval force that can not only help to secure the strait right here, but also would be a major role in helping Russia other than it would be now, because it's not going to be the best Navy ship ever built. Well, sure, you guys can have it. I tell you what, if you let us have Sweden. No, Skåne. You can have the ship, but we want Skåne. Yeah, we want Skåne back. Yeah, you can have the ship, but we want Skåne. You can have the ship. I tell the ship, you can take the ship, but we take back some of our land. That sounds like a pretty good trade deal, doesn't it? As of now, a man who suffered 40% of his body burns as a result of the fire in Kyiv has been treated by doctors, said that the head of the regional prosecutor office. According to him, people are still being searched for, and the numbers of victims may increase. More than 15 private nurses. Sorry, I don't even know what that last one bit said there, but yeah. Apparently, a very massive fire was caused by somebody shooting a petrol station, because why not? Apparently, that's something they think is a strategic means of necessity of burning buildings down. That's apparently what they call strategic measures. Some Russian ships, right about ships. I mean, I got Russian planes up. Oh, he gives the funds up. Well, we'll take back Skåne, then you can have the ship. I tell you what, we take back Skåne, which is this part right here. Oh, it's only like a little bit right here. We'll take that back. You guys take the ship. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, why not? I mean, that seems like a fair trade deal, doesn't it? I mean, you might have to convince the people of Skåne. I don't think it's that hard, because they don't really like to be living in the country anyways. I'm kidding. Some people are doubting the factor of Sweden even being a country at this point. I mean, there's a lot of things happening in Sweden at this point, isn't there? A lot of stuff going on. Not always positive. All right. Let's go on Deep State, see if there's anything up here in the Deep State map. Of course, you know, what are we looking at? And this is what I want to point out here. Where is the biggest region? We are looking at a massive offensive lately, as the Russians have backed up thousands of troops, hundreds of tanks and howitzers and vehicles. They're to push here in the Anaviga direction. You can see these pushes has been made on a daily basis lately. There's been major pushes by the Russians in all kinds of directions here, mainly trying to get in here. And you can see there's been a massive push here trying to secure these 2 points right here. Not strategically massive, but certainly tries to seem that they're trying to get these two countries to unite there. Or, sorry, get their two fronts to unite. 4 kilometers. We're actually looking at a distance of just 4 kilometers here. This is quite, when you think about it, you know, and sort of point out just how much that is. I mean, it's not a lot. You know, there's really not a lot left to gain there. It is certainly becoming quite a desperate one. Would I, as a strategic mind, not that I'm not like that, but would I? Oh, look at that. Would I think to myself that it would be worth pulling out of Anavica to? I realize giving up some of the land, but also in the second part, perhaps it wouldn't be too dumb to not only save some manpower for a city, but, you know, I mean, yeah. I realize the strategic importance of the city and the strategic importance for Putin to be able to tell his people and blah, 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 all that stuff there. But you have to think in perspective of the manpower. You can't keep throwing people at the Anavica front there, because the Anavica front has, of course, the means to... I can't, now the fact that I'm looking at this right here. But look at that. That's a drone from the Ukrainian army. Yeah, that's a Ukrainian drone right there. A drone didn't reach the target in Russia, but how cool does the drone look? The Nighthawk, they should call it. The Ukrainian Black Eagle or something like that. Or the Falcon. Ooh, Falcon. No, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's certainly strategically important. Certainly is, you know, not only just strategically, but sort of strategically important, but also I was watching a video there that didn't really make a lot of sense. But also since symbolically important is what I'm trying to say. But you have to put it into perspective once in a while. How symbolically important is it for you to remember to protect the amount of lives that you have so you can fight on for a longer time? That's my point of view.
Alright, so you want me to open this?
I don't know.
Does that sound like it? I think it is.
Mark Zuckerberg in 2022. Yeah. Weird guy. He's a weird guy. Jesus Christ. All right, guys. Well, to put it into perspective now, I'm done from streaming for today. We're gonna be back again tomorrow, obviously. Yeah, there isn't really a lot of other stuff going on. Interesting things, breaking news kind of stuff. I mean, you could keep reporting on some stuff, but sorry, right now, there's not a lot of stuff going on right now. So yeah, thank you for being here. Thanks for what was that? China wars page not to play with fire on Taiwan. China warns PH not to play with fire on Taiwan. Of course they do. Anyways, have a good time, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. I will see you all tomorrow.